Nobody really cares about you in your 20s. You're kind of dismissed as but you don't know that. You think everyone expects you to just, I've arrived and I'm here and I know everything. Nobody expects that of you. And if I knew nobody expected that of me, then I would have fucked up so much more.
Issa Rae, welcome to Bustle One Nightstand.
Thank you so much.
We're thrilled to have you. You've chosen some incredible books for us to talk about today, as well as your own new collection of essays. Have you always been a big reader?
Yeah, I mean, I've always loved reading, but I haven't had the time. And more recently, and it's always my New Year's resolution. I'm like a big New Year's resolution person, and I read more is always like at the top of the list. But these last couple of years, I've just made more time. And then I try to do the 30 minutes a night thing, and I always fall off, but I've been more consistent.
I loved that chapter in your essay collection about how you love Mondays and love New Year's. Talk me through that. I was like scrubbing my kitchen, cleaning while I was, because I'm also, like you describe, a multitasker. I'm always doing one thing.
You have to feel productive.
I felt very validated when I got to that chapter.
I'm glad I wrote it for you. I when school ended, I started loving Mondays. Actually, when school ended and my job was something that like I woke up loving to do, then I started to love Mondays. And Mondays in particular, they just feel like a fresh start. I'm always like trying to have a new diet. I'm always trying to have a new plan, and Mondays are like, oh, a fresh start for me. And so loving Mondays means I absolutely love the first of the year, because that is the ultimate reset. That is like my chance to be the person I've always wanted to be. It just feels like everyone's on the same page about starting over, and so it feels more attainable.
Yeah. Sometimes I shy away from the like, not the self-improvement, but the idea of like new goals and stuff like that, because it makes me feel a bit bad about myself. But you feel very like empowered.
No, and I'm fine with like repeating the goals. Like I didn't do this the last time, but I'm definitely gonna do it this time. And then maybe I might add one new one that feels genuine and authentic, like something that's come to me that I'm kind of already on the way of doing and dedicating to. So like even the decision to read more this year, I was like, how do I actively do this? And I was able to use it for a role that I played, where I was like, oh, I'm gonna find books that I think relate to this character, and so now I have an excuse where reading is work to help me get in this character. And so that was huge for me, and it's just about trying to find ways to work my goals into what I'm already doing, so it doesn't feel as daunting.
Well, one of the books that you've brought is The Courage to Be Disliked, which I hadn't read before. Tell me what you love about this book.
So this was a book that was a January read. Let me tell you, the most I read is generally in January. And I thought it was a great New Year's resolution book. I knew I was going to be turning 40 this year too. And so everyone has always told me about your 40s, how you have a newfound sense of confidence and you kind of stop giving a fuck. And this book jumped out at me. And maybe I saw it in a recommended reading list and I was like, oh, okay, the title alone resonates, just, you know, as a former people pleaser. And I wanted to see what it was about. And then it just was super gripping in that it was like approachable philosophy. Sometimes philosophy is by nature very heady, and sometimes the thinking feels a bit too circular for me. And this is like in the form of a conversation, and it was just, I read it at the right time.
That's interesting. I was so I went to buy it from McNally Jackson on Prince Street, and they had it in the self-help section, which I think is wrong. Like, and at the end of the book, I was like, people should not do this. But once I understood that it was like philosophy, we were more like musing on different theories of things, I was like, okay, but
yeah, I wouldn't put it in the self-help section, but it could. I see both ways.
Yeah.
I think it should be in multiple sections.
Yeah.
So I hope that someone who is just like, I don't know, someone who's like imprisoned by their trauma, which I think this book is really good for, because it almost frees you of the burden of your past defining you, which I find really powerful and obviously easier said than done. But just the notion that that's possible, I think can help someone to at least try to overcome whatever it is they're going through. So in that way, sure, self-help. But there, like you said, there's so many things where you are like the student where like, no, you just can't. No,
can't do that.
That won't work. That's impossible. And you can't live that way. But I think if you're in a period of your life where you are determined to just shed and change, then this is for you.
There were also so many moments where I was like kind of angry after the first few chapters, and then I got to a point where it was like felt like it really like got me right there, and I was like, oh,
you were literally
I better
the student
sit back down.
in the book. Like, this is your story. You were the pupil. Got it.
I mean, because I just thought the perspective, because he was talking to someone who was unhappy, right? And
Yeah.
so I was like, I wonder if a happy person would agree with these kind of maxims. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I guess maybe I do identify as a happy person.
Yeah.
Right. And so I think, again, it's easier said than done. I'm blessed where I haven't had any massive traumas. And so in that way, I was kind of just approaching it from the perspective that they're just, again, things that I need to shed, or I want to shift how I'm thinking. I want to shift how I define myself, because I have lived the first 34 years of my life like thinking of myself in a certain way. So what does it look like to try to change that and to not define myself by my past? And so it just felt empowering to do so, and just something to keep in my subconscious. But I'd imagine if you do identify as like an unhappy person and you want to be happy, this could be the first step to try to get there.
Yeah.
How do you identify?
I think I identify as a happy person as well most of the time, but I also I struggle sometimes with books that feel like they lean a bit into self-help, because if I feel like they're shouting at me.
Oh, absolutely.
Which, to be fair, there were only a few instances where I was like, back in your box, my friend. But not often.
Did you say it out loud?
I'd just be like, pause, or like put the book away and be like, enough of you for now.
Yeah.
But no, it is provocative. And I think especially the stuff about needing to be liked, and how especially the stuff about needing praise was and how you're basically living to someone else's life goals. I thought that was really powerful.
Yeah.
I think in your chapter of essays, the one called Playing Well with Others, you write really beautifully about the sort of challenges of like caring too much about what other people think and how they react to your sort of feedback or opinions. Can you tell me a little bit about that?
Yeah, it's hard to work in a creative industry and collaborate with other people if you can't be completely honest with them. And you also, just as a creative myself, I know what it's like to get my feelings hurt when you feel like I'm delivering what I think is the best parts of myself and my creative work, and you don't like it. And now I don't know how to do that. I don't know how to move about. Now my confidence is kind of crushed, and I recognize that can alter someone, like that can hurt someone, that can alter someone's career, my negative feedback. And so I'm really sensitive to how I deliver news, that I don't appreciate something, I don't understand something. And I've learned over time how to navigate that, but it's a constant dance, because again, I'm thinking of myself. But yeah, even in other scenarios, like when you're collaborating with someone, I just try to, like we kind of talked about, like give the bigger picture of things. And I work really hard to show what I appreciate, but I still have a lot of work to do on that front. Like I just worked on something where I was like, I don't like this for me, but I recognize that this was good. And so how do I marry the two?
Yeah, that's difficult.
Yeah, it is.
Does that change the way you think about your career moving forward?
All the time.
Yeah.
And it's kind of part of the game, but I haven't figured out a solution yet.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know that I'm like, I should change something, and I got to figure out how to navigate this part, but I don't know what to do about that quite yet.
So when you talk about turning 40, there's a few lines in this book, one that I wrote down, that the life that lies ahead of you is a completely blank page. There are no tracks that have been laid for you to follow. There's no story there. How do you feel about that with the context of turning 40? Does that feel true to you? Does it feel empowering? Or
Yeah, it does. I'm already doing things that I just never imagined.
What kind of things?
They're more embarrassing things I don't want to talk about yet, but things that I said that I would only, like 30 and 20-year-old me would be like, girl, what? Like, why are you?
No,
what
is
is
me
it?
with this microphone right now. This is like, I'm like, what am I doing? But here I
We're
am.
so proud of these though. Did y'all see that we changed? We have new microphone boxes. But yeah, there's just stuff where I'm like, oh, I'm trying new things. I'm challenging myself in new ways, and I like that, and I want to see what else I want to do. And younger me, you do think that your life is supposed to be a certain way and kind of wind down in your 40s. And I'm like, what are you talking about? There's so much to do, and there's so much that I don't want to fall into. And it's not about like being afraid of getting older. I want to age gracefully. I want to do I want to do so much more, but I'm just so much wiser than I was. And I do have more confidence.
That's amazing. I sort of really love that idea, although I also think it's nice, like when you've had such big successes like you've had, I do feel like it's nice to carry that forward. Like I remember in my early 20s, you just like, am I actually gonna make it? Or like, am I actually gonna, like, I certainly had these moments where I was like interning for free at magazines being like told my parents, I think this is gonna work out. But you have that fear, and like when you get a bit older, you're like, okay, I've got some like wins on the scoreboard.
Yeah, you feel it, and you feel like just a bit more rooted.
Yes.
You know, there's something, you're flailing in your 20s in so many ways, in your early 20s, and you literally don't know what you're doing. You just got here.
Exactly.
In so many ways, and you feel like there are all these expectations placed upon you, but like also nobody really cares about you in your 20s.
Oh my
like
God,
it's
so
really
true.
nobody cares. You're kind of dismissed as but you don't know that. You think everyone expects you to just, I've arrived and I'm here and I know everything, and it's just nobody expects that of you. And if I knew nobody expected that of me, then I would have fucked up so much more.
Oh my God, right.
Happily.
20s are really difficult. I was thinking about this the other day. I was like, you have all this freedom, more freedom than you've had before, but also like not that much freedom because you don't have any money. You don't have like, you're sort of
God.
setting up your, oh my God, it's so difficult. Like the highest highs and lowest lows in your 20s, I think.
Yeah, because also what else do you know? Definitely highest highs, because it's like it's the first time you're kind of like living for you.
Exactly. I was like out all the time, like and then the next day it's rough.
It was way more rough in your like 30s and 40s.
Yeah,
and you're like,
worse.
God, what happened to me? I used to be better. But also just the community that you form in the form of friendships, the relationships that you build in your 20s are so, they seem like everything. They are. But you know, as you start to refine who you are and what you're looking for in your friendships and relationships, there is like in some cases, quiet devastation of like, oh, I'm growing apart from these people, and we're not, and I thought we'd be friends forever.
It's a weird feeling, that, isn't it? And you sort of, I noticed that when I was living in London at the time, there was suddenly this like decamping out the city of all my friends that got married. And those of us that were single, it was like we were just like left in our little apartments, like cool.
Yeah, you made you left London to come here.
I came here, which was better because I feel like I moved when I was 31. I think it's better to be a single 31-year-old in New York than it is in London.
Really?
Yeah.
Why?
Because everyone in London was just like getting shacked up and leaving the city. It was very suburban, the existence suddenly.
Oh, okay. So yes, being single, yes, because you don't have to watch everybody be in relationships.
Yeah.
Whereas out here, everybody's pretty much single.
Well, everyone's just, and even my friends that are in relationships, they're in the city still, they're still going out. Whereas my friends in London were really like, you know.
I'm good, I'm set.
Yeah, exactly.
Life's over.
What's the vibe like in LA in your 30s?
You know, I guess a little bit like New York, but with less proximity of people. Like I was thinking about that. My friends, we're all mixed in relationship status, married, single, engaged. We just mesh really well, but we're all from LA. I can't imagine being a transplant looking for love in LA. It feels like it would be a night. I wouldn't do it myself.
Interesting.
I don't think LA is a good dating city, and I for sure romanticized it in Insecure, knowingly. I was like, I'm deceiving people. I don't care. This is what I want it to be, but sorry, it's not. But I think New York is a fun place. Everybody says it's terrible, but everybody is very attractive here.
Yeah. I think it's fun. Like, I mean, yeah, it's definitely better than London, but
I also feel like, well, yeah, you not being from here.
Yeah.
You have an exotic accent.
Wow, I'm going to use that to my advantage. It's like our one thing we've got going for us, the Brits. Talking of Insecure, when Jay Ellis came on One Nightstand, he talked about how one of the books he recommended was Bell Hooks' All About Love.
Oh, yeah.
And he read it after filming season 1 of Insecure. And he was talking about love and said, you know, I felt like I don't need to worry about that kind of thing. And then after that first season, he wanted to go deeper, which I thought was really sweet.
So him getting married and serious about his relationship is all because of Insecure and Bell Hooks. Yeah. And I'd like to think he probably read that because of Natasha, because Natasha Rothwell, who plays Kelly on the show, she talks about how she revisits that book over and over again. And one of my favorite jokes that she improvised in the first season was, "Bitch, I'm gonna call Bell Hooks on you." And so that's, yeah, Insecure is to credit for his love life.
I also loved with Natasha Father, Poppycock. The British.
Yeah, I still say taco like her all the time.
It's so good. So good. Well, talking of another book that really has an incredible group of friends, because, you know, we were just talking about what it's like to sort of find your friends in your 20s. There's an incredible book that's not yet out on shelves, but The Wilderness. Tell me about this book, which I know is written by one of your friends.
Yeah, I love Angela Flournoy. I actually met her in my 20s when I was in New York. She was friends with my roommate, one of my roommates, because I had two. And yeah, she wrote a book. It's so interesting. Like, we were both trying to become who we are now. And I had no idea. I knew she was a writer, and she was, I think, going for her MFA in New York. And I had a bajillion jobs, but I didn't know that she wanted to be a novelist at all. And so I read her first book, The Turner House, when it came out. And I just remember just being blown away. Like, this girl, because we only knew each other in the club brunch dinner scenes, you know? And so I didn't know the extent of her talent. And so The Turner House blew me away. And then there's still a show that she wrote, a drama for HBO set in LA that was about a family that was so good, set in the 90s, that HBO ultimately didn't pick up. But it was, I think about it every other week. And so I've been waiting for her follow-up, and The Wilderness is her follow-up, and it really does follow her close friends. And she's been through so much, and just the way she writes, people, you feel like you know them. And I'll read everything she writes.
I think she does such a beautiful job of creating this sense of like everyone has their own path, which is really lovely, and the writing is so beautiful. It's
vivid, and it's everything that you want in a novel. And I want to say, you know, I primarily read nonfiction, and this year I've been more intentional about reading fiction books. And I want to say The Turner House, her first book, was also my like first foray back into fiction. And so I don't know how much I can say about like what she's been through in her personal life, but that informs so much of this storytelling, and also makes it all the more raw.
It's so raw is exactly the word I was going to describe. When you think and seeing the way that these friends, I mean, I've got sisters, and I think that way that you talk to that like these girlfriends really talk to each other in that way, with that like intimacy and that shorthand of like that closeness.
Which is like, wait, you said you have sisters?
An older sister and a younger sister.
Okay. I was gonna say there's definitely a way that you talk to your sisters. I don't know. Do you talk to your sisters the same way that you speak to your close friends? Is it completely different?
I would say I would say I'm more honest with my sisters, like more unfiltered. Like, there's one section where a character who's had a baby has like a prolapsed situation, and she's like, can you have a look at what's going on? I would more like to do it with my sister than my girlfriends.
Yeah, okay, probably. That's fair. I think
Are you the way around?
I am the other way around, because my sister and I are 6 years apart, and I still feel protective of her. And there's some things that I've gone through that she doesn't know about, and that she's gone through that I don't know about. And so I think there's just a difference there. Whereas like my friends know, they've been there for so much of what I've gone through. But I'm more unfiltered with my sister, but there's still a desire to preserve.
I think you're actually right, because I was just thinking now, there's a lot of stuff my sisters don't know. But there's some that my girlfriend, I'm like, we'll cut that bit. But no, that my girlfriends definitely do know about. But yeah, it's interesting. And those like spaces where you feel you can be completely honest, are just like,
oh my God. Yeah, they're safe spaces, literally. And I want to say that Angela, I know she's an only child. And so like, obviously like her girlfriends do mean everything to her. And so this is without a doubt a love letter to them.
I loved the chapter in your book where you talk about your childhood bedroom with your sister, and it was just so lovely. Was it fun to like dive back into some of those memories?
Once I started to like remember them, yes. You know, it's so hard. I find I love writing about characters because I can just make stuff up. You get to reach the part of yourselves that feels the most accessible, that's kind of almost a bit shallow. But when you're writing something like this, I'm like forced to dig deep in a way where I'm just like, I don't feel like it, or I don't I'm not prepared to, and it does take a lot of work to remember. So yes and no. Like when I finally was like, when I discovered what I wanted to write and I could reach the memory where it opened up and I was like, oh yes, my childhood bedroom actually did inform so much of my perspective and made me dream in ways that I'm kind of waking up in it now. Like that feels beautiful, but it's such an arduous process to like do the digging.
Interesting. Did you talk to your family members about stuff to help
I
recall?
did.
Yeah.
I called my little brother just to see what he remembered about like our joint restaurant, Hamburgers Everywhere, because there was a part that I had to make up in the phone and I hated that, where because we used to play with that stupid phone all the time, and I was like, what were the other characters? And he was like, I don't know, bro. No, I remember doing it. I remember you were bossy. It was fun.
Yeah.
But I don't remember. He remembered this is daddy, what are you doing? Because it became an inside joke for us. But yeah, and then of course talking to my sister about certain things. But for the most part, it's so like isolating.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Interesting. I love the details of like you having the like house computer in your bedroom when like 1994 and it being like this freedom.
Yes, because my mom didn't know anything
Yeah.
about computers. She was kind of just like, here, okay, you're playing Number Munchers, a math computer game. Great.
Sure, go on.
Yeah. Get out my face.
But there is something so lovely about like childhood bedrooms as being this first like space of your own where you get to be creative. And I really related to you talking about the desk. And I remember my desks being like, this is where I do things. And it being like this incredibly kind of empowering space.
Yes. Oh my gosh. The desk is, when's your birthday?
October
And you're
1988.
Libra?
Yeah, I'm a triple Libra.
Oh, wow.
I know.
Oh, that makes sense. Okay. You're comforting. But yeah, there's just something about, feeling official and having a desire to do things because you have a desk. Like I have to live up to this desk.
Literally.
Because I have it. So what am I going to do? What am I going to write? And that's so funny because it really does all start with the desk. And then I'm a big hand writer. And
Me
so
too. It's so much better. I feel like my brain doesn't work fast enough for the computer.
It does not at all. I can't catch up to the computer. I feel like the computer is where I go when things are like official and they're forming. And then I know that I'm going to be in edit mode, but I love the messiness of writing.
Totally.
And then the organization is what the computer is for.
Did you go on any workations while you were writing these chapters? Because I love that chapter too. I was like,
what?
I need to do
Absolutely.
this.
I went so many places. I went to Paris. I went to Mexico. I went to Mauritius. I was writing this book for a really long time and not writing this book for a really long time.
Like most writers.
Yeah, I was not writing for a really long time. Because part of it is like, even though I wasn't digging into anything too personal, it was still like digging into, myself. And so I had to kind of just be by myself to let things marinate.
Yeah.
And at least that's what I told myself while I was, walking the streets of Italy.
Who's your first reader that you give stuff pages to look at?
It's so funny. I'm not.
You don't?
No, only who has to read it.
Interesting.
Sometimes I'll share stuff with my husband, but he's too supportive.
Yeah, he's like, great job. You're like, was it though?
I'm like, you don't even know it. Yeah, it's fine. Because I don't want to hear good job. I just want to hear what I need to fix. And so that's why I give it to the people who need to read it. And when I do want to hear a good job, I rarely hear it. So,
I know, right?
Yeah.
Did you worry with any of the anecdotes about like, oh God, I mean, I thought the story you told about when someone called the wardrobe for these background actors skanky, can you tell me a little bit about that?
Yeah. I mean, I don't want everyone to throw anybody under the bus, but this was something that also like, defined when you ask the question, like, how am I going to move? What am I going to do moving forward? And not what I'm going to change. That is something that I've actively changed moving forward. And I have more of an awareness around the weight of my own words and my own presence and what speaking up can change. And so in that way, like that was a pivotal moment for me. And it was the first time that I had felt like kind of an antagonist on something that I was supposed to be a team player, which I felt like I was, until I felt like we weren't treating everybody on the team the same.
I think also there's those moments sometimes when people look at you and you're like, okay, but which team are you on?
Yeah. And it was, which team are you on is a great way to put it, because like this was also like a racial thing for me, and I was like, oh, this comes first. Like I feel an obligation here to say something, because this is not something that I would tolerate. I can't like sweep this under the rug, and so it doesn't feel good to be a part of this right now.
No, I think that's the thing. Whenever you're writing about real life, it is scary, like people reading it who are involved and stuff, but you handle it really beautifully.
Thank you. And so yeah, to kind of answer your question, now I was worried about that, and there were a couple of instances where I talk about things that have happened throughout my career that, you know, still hurt. Whether that's like friendship breakups through working together in collaborations and the like. And it's just like, I don't mean to vilify anyone or anything like that. It's more about like, again, the learning lessons and hoping that other people who've gone through it, who are so deep in it now, and some of these things depressed me so heavily, and I was just like, oh, I don't even want to do this anymore. I don't want to do this if I don't have this person in my life, or I don't want to do this now that I've failed miserably. And so like that, just knowing that there's, you know, there's a light at the end of the tunnel. There's hope on the other side.
Totally, it's brilliant. I mean, I loved all of your essays. They were all so sort of like, as I was saying to you before, I'm definitely going to share one of them with my colleagues at work.
Thank you.
About collaboration. One of your other books that you recommended, fiction, Great Black Hope by Rob Franklin, which I loved and like tore through. Tell me about your love for that book.
Oh my gosh. It was recommended to me by an exec I work with, and speaking much for 20s and thinking about like New York, and I love ensemble stories, but this in particular was just so fresh from a perspective that I was familiar with in a way, but like it just felt like it was asking questions that we don't often ask about, like kind of black privilege, and also art and class, in a way that was really, really compelling to me. And it was just juicy. It was a coming of age story that felt like unique, but also like something that I might see in an elevated CW show, which I love.
Do you ever read with the goal of optioning things to adapt?
Yes. I think more recently, if anything. But I love a good mystery, and these characters stuck with me, but it was also about, you know, so much more than that. And this young man's journey in identity.
Yeah. I also think it has really interesting things to say about work and work as part of your identity, same as The Courage to be Disliked, which sort of, I mean, The Courage to be Disliked sort of offers the idea that, you know, your whole identity can't be work, which I think is obviously true. And then the idea that it's only by contributing things that you sort of sometimes to the wider society that you can feel valuable. And I think you sort of see the characters in Great Black Hope wrestling with that, in the sense of like what to do for work. And I think I saw this with some of my friends from university who had a lot of money. Like in their 20s, they drifted more than the rest of us because they weren't like pegged down by the same imperative to just like
figure it out.
And like, and that does give you some purpose, but I don't know, I thought it handled it so beautifully, that sense of like, they're all trying to work out who they are. And even if you don't land on exactly who you are, but you are able to sustain yourself, there's real pride in that, you know, when you don't have much. So I don't know, I thought it would just handled it beautifully.
Yeah, agreed. And it also feels, and that's the timeliness of it, when I think about even this generation and like how they may be going to school for something that may not exist. Like imagine deciding what your purpose would be, but also not being able to achieve that. And there's such a scariness there. And this generation in particular feels more uncertain in a way of who they should be, but also more determined to live their lives while they can, because of that uncertainty. So it was relatable, but it was also really good insight into something that I feel a little bit more removed from now.
Do you ever like fictionally cast books in your head when you're reading them?
I don't anymore. I think I did that more when I was like reading in high school, and I was like, I was obsessed with like the actors in a different way, and so like that's all I could do. I watched so many movies where I couldn't help it. I don't see a face, I see an essence, and I'm fine with that. You see faces?
I think I do sometimes see faces, not always.
You know what I think about? Do you watch Love is Blind?
Yeah.
Whenever someone's like, oh, I didn't imagine what they look like, I tend not to believe them, but then I'm like, oh, I do that when I read. I don't physically see them outside of like, oh, they have a pointy nose and their hair is a certain way, but I can't like put them together And I like it that way.
That's interesting. So are you like a visual thinker then in that way when you're like ideating for your own shows or your own projects?
I'm definitely a visual thinker. I see things vividly from my own work, but that I'm like, oh, I'm drawing on things that I also know and am familiar with, but for other people's writing, not so much.
That's interesting. You really have a sense of the weight of different generations of stories as well, which I thought was really sort of like beautifully handled, and the pressure of like a parent's generation come up with one set of needs and one set of goals and one set of expectations, and then things have changed for their kids, but they find it hard to watch them do things differently.
Oh my gosh, I was just having a conversation about that. There's just there is such a pressure to like let your kids be who they are and allow them to flourish, but like also that feels so impossible to do, and you really take their failures and the things that they go through so personally, whereas I feel like my parents were just like, yeah, you live it, you fucked up, you live and you learn. And these set of parents just really feel so like kind of invested in a new way with their kids. Like they just feel like it's a personal attack if their kids don't do well or don't go down a specific path. They take more blame for it in so many ways.
It's interesting that, isn't it? Like that sort of shift. Do you have nieces and nephews?
I do, yes.
Do you like being an auntie?
I love being an auntie.
Me too.
Oh my God. You do? How many do you have?
I've got 4.
Oh, well
5th
done.
on the way. Yeah.
Congratulations.
Thank you. Likewise.
I have 5. And yeah, it's the best.
Isn't it?
Oh my gosh. Yeah, I want to spend more time. I think about that all the time. Like I want to just be there. Especially sisters' kids are different than, I love my brother's kids. I love both of my brother's kids. They're amazing. But when my sister had her most recent daughter, I was like, oh, I want this. Like this is, because she looks like her and she's so, I never thought I wanted girls, but my sister's daughter made me want like a girl.
It's amazing.
What's the age range for yours?
10, 8, 5, and 1.
You're so good.
What about
you?
Yeah, okay.
No, but it is. It's 11. It's 11, 9, 7, 5, and now she just turned 2.
Oh.
Okay, so I got that.
Yeah, you got it down. You got it down.
Because it's 2 years apart, so it helps. Yeah.
It is so fun, and it's such a sort of like, I don't know, you feel so like protective of them, but also I'm happy to give them back.
Immediately. But you're about to have a baby on the way. Like you have a new baby coming. I was just thinking like, oh, I miss, babies are the best.
It's so fun.
Oh man.
My younger sister who's pregnant, her first child, Evelyn, she had through IVF after trying for many years to get pregnant, and successfully had a baby through IVF, and then at 10 months after Evelyn, they just got pregnant completely unexpectedly.
That happens all the time. I just had that happen to a mutual friend. Yeah, where it's just like the less you think about it, then it's like, oh.
And suddenly, and she was like, I know I should be so happy, and she's like, I am happy, I want my baby, but she was also like, she's gonna have 2 under 20 months.
Ooh. And she knows the gender?
No.
Is she gonna surprise herself?
Yeah.
That's so fun.
Yeah,
my sister did that the first time too.
It's sweet.
I don't know if I can handle that.
Really? Do you think you'd want to know?
I think so. Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm not sure I want kids, so I don't know.
You're going back and forth?
Yeah, well, I mean,
you're not even going forth.
No, exactly. I'm back on my own. Exactly. Whenever people are like, do you want kids? I'm like, who the fuck with?
Understood.
Yeah. I'm not sure whether I'd find out or not. I think it's probably quite a fun surprise, but
that's what my sister was like. This is the only thing I have to look forward to.
Yeah.
Is this surprise. So I was like, you know what?
It's true.
Get it where you
those first few months you really are in the trenches. But yeah, no, I loved Great Black Hope. I thought it was so fun. I kept thinking, I want to see an Issa Rae adaptation of this.
Oh, thank you. Okay. All right.
Yeah.
From your lips.
Yeah.
Got it. But I lied. I read another book recently that we're not talking about today, but Luster, and I saw an actress in mind for that.
Really?
And that was like, I was obsessed with
Raven Leilani, right?
Yeah.
Who did you see playing?
I kind of don't want to say yet because I'm on a mission.
Good
but
for
I
you.
think it's taken, so maybe I should just say, but I won't. I don't want them to steal it.
Yeah, good idea. Your 4th book, Eleanor Oliphant is Completely Fine, is being adapted by Reese Witherspoon.
I know.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I'm fine with that.
Yeah, a director from Fleabag, I think, is on board, which I think is an
Oh
interesting.
yeah, I did hear that. Yeah, and I feel confident that it'll be done well. But she's such a specific
Oh
character.
my
I
God, I know.
hope that they go with someone new.
Oh, interesting.
Now, like, who did you have in mind for
I
it?
don't think I really had any. Actually, I read this book a long time ago, so I had to just sort of brush up on it this weekend. But who do I think I could see? I don't know.
Yeah, that's what it is. So specific, and that excited me. Where I was like, okay, I hope in hearing that Reese was adapting it or producing it,
Yeah.
I had that desire of like a breakout. But then what's scary about a breakout potentially is like, I guess as an actress, will people only see you as that?
Yeah.
But she was one of those characters I just couldn't get out of my head for a while.
Right. What did you love about the voice in particular?
I mean, the humor, there was
Exactly.
that,
Yeah.
her clearly being on the spectrum in some way, and like the way that she was so blunt about things in an almost Amelia Bedelia-esque way. And yeah, it made me laugh so many times unexpectedly.
Yeah, she reminded me actually of my grandma a little bit. She was definitely a bit spectrumy. And the comment about, I think when she runs into her hairdresser and the hairdresser was like, your hair looks nice. And she was like, several people have told me that. So that leads me to believe you've done a good job. I was like, that's exactly the kind of thing my dad would have said.
Yes, it managed to have that tone, but still be really, really heartfelt. And I found myself like crying at parts in the book. And I wasn't expecting that. I really felt I wanted her to be happy.
I know.
Yeah.
And the stuff with when you get to the end and you actually find out what happened. Oh God, it's just awful.
Yeah, there's for sure a lesson in trauma there, obviously, and how we tend to cope, and that was tragic, but also it didn't weigh the book down, and the fact that you knew that there was something crazy and tragic, but it was still a page turner, and I just wanted the best for her.
Have you ever, I mean, the book sort of, what propels Eleanor out of the norm in a way is partly this relationship with a work colleague, this sort of like unexpected friendship. Have you ever had a sort of unexpected friendship with someone that's like pushed things in an unexpected direction?
Yeah, working out here actually, pushing things in an unexpected direction. Yes, I've had a couple of those friendships. My first working out here, I worked in a theater company, at a theater company by day, and then it was all theater and theater company by day, and then I would sell tickets for another theater company at night, and I befriended like the guy who did all the tech and sound for one of the productions, and one of the productions we worked on he worked on wasn't great.
Yeah.
And he was just like someone who just I wouldn't typically be friends with. I wouldn't ever meet him, and we just immediately clicked, and now he's in LA with me. He's married, and we have we don't get to see each other all the time, where we're so bonded by kind of the trenches of where we started. And I think he knows so much more about parts of me than maybe even other friends do, because I was so isolated in my New York, like I didn't have my core friends here, and I was also like a really shy person, and so he was kind of the first person that I met on my own as my own friend.
Oh, that's so lovely.
Yeah.
Is he the same age as you, or like?
He's like 1 year older. Yeah.
Okay.
From
Wow.
Seattle.
That's I love those friendships though. They're the best.
They really, really are. And we've seen each other through so much. I would say that he encouraged me in so many ways to like kind of pursue beyond writing. I didn't care about holding a camera. I didn't want to do any of those technical things. And because he was on the technical side and so gifted, I think he still is so gifted of a visual storyteller, he made me challenge myself in the way that I tell stories. But he's not like pursuing it as much as I want him to.
Yeah.
Which is to his detriment, I think.
I love that you called him out.
I am. I'm calling you out, bro. Get it together. Write that. Finish your fucking script.
Finish your script. In LA, do a lot of people just have scripts that they're all like writing? Because I mean, all my friends have like novels that they're working on, self included.
I always joke about like you live in LA and someone's like, "Oh yeah, I'm working on my script," and you're like, "Where is it?" "Oh yeah, I'm still finishing it." In New York, I'm working on my script. Where is it? Here it is, and here's the treatment. Here's the like. People just have a different hustle mentality, and I think coming here helped me, and moving back to LA, it helped me to bring some of that kind of hustle energy with me, where it like made me stand out, because I was a person of my word. Like
Yeah.
I was about it, and I don't think I would have been that. I would have been one of those people that was like, I'm still writing it if I had stayed in LA.
Yeah. I liked one of the lines that I wrote down from your book is efficient perfectionism. Which I think is like, no, but that's such a good way of putting it. Like, and that's kind of what you have to strive for.
Yeah, you do. I mean, otherwise it is a waste of time.
It's a waste of time. And perfectionism can really bog you down in a lot of stuff that doesn't matter.
I've seen that with so many people, and it really just, it is kind of an excuse. It's procrastination, it's fear, it's rooted in fear. Like, no, you don't want it to be perfect. You're scared of putting it out.
Yeah. I saw, like something on Instagram or something that was like, don't make your identity contingent on the thing that you're trying to make, in the sense like, because then it always feels too scary. Like the idea of like, so like just write something. You don't like have to think of being a novelist as something that's like this thing over here.
Yeah. And I always wonder, like, who are you thinking of? Like, who's the worst person? What's the worst thing someone can say to you? Like, who is preventing you theoretically from putting it out? Whose judgment do you fear? I guess someone could say like, this is the worst thing that I've ever seen, but if they don't matter to me, then it doesn't matter.
That's a good way of thinking about it. Well, I was talking to my team earlier today because I was talking to everyone about social and posting more. And I was like, we are climbing Cringe Mountain, guys, and we're going to do it together. But that's sort of what it feels like. You have to really move beyond cringe. And I've read people say that so many times, but you sort of, especially when you're creating early work, because the first draft you will feel a bit embarrassed.
Yeah, I miss those days though. Like the luxury of climbing Cringe Mountain when people have no expectations is great. And then you lose that luxury when people have seen your stuff. Then it's just like,
interesting. So what does it feel like now? Just
now there's way more pressure on it. And now like you can get the perfectionism syndrome, but I've also just had to be like, your audience in your head has been the same forever. It is your friends and family. This is who you're making it for. This is who you're thinking of. And you can't think about anybody else.
No. But I love that part in one of your chapters where you talk about filling the writer's room and how you were like sort of pushed in the direction of getting not just, people who have your perspective, but also different perspectives.
Yeah.
I think it's such a great metaphor, really. You want to keep your DNA and you also want to push yourself a little bit outside those lines.
Yeah, but that was Prentice, who was the showrunner in Insecure. Like he really, really, like, again, one of the best collaborations I've ever had, but he really helped me to think about how to do that, because I may have had a bunch of people who thought like me in the room, and in him telling me like, we already have the you, like was like, whoa, we already have the person who thinks like you, we already have the you in the room, now we need like these other perspectives to like fill it and fill the other characters. And that was just so mind-blowing to me, because I would have filled the room with people who think like me and who share my perspective, and it would have been like just us saying exactly in the room like the entire time. Yeah, for sure. So it really helped. We got into so many arguments. We got into gender wars in the room. We got into class war. We got into so many, and it was fun, and it helped to enrich the characters.
Yeah. And I loved also the anecdote you tell about when you worked with Melina and she walked in on the set and you were like, this set doesn't feel right, but you couldn't quite articulate why, and then she was like, it doesn't look like Black people live here.
Yes, which is so helpful. People always ask like why it's important to have the other Black people behind the scenes if they're on camera, and it's just like, because I can't articulate everything. I can't that's just, I'm not, there are levels of expertise that I just don't have, and it's really refreshing when someone else can articulate something that you just can't.
But is always like on your team and knows your goal and is going to help you like find the best route there.
Yeah, and also conversely, like even with her, where that was the best example of working with her in a way of like, oh, we're on the same team. There were also other moments where I was like, we will fight. I will, like, we're going to come to blows, but I respect you so much, and I respect your opinion, and I respect like the way that you think, and that should happen. I should be able to be like, I want to beat your ass right now, like, and you want to be mine.
Yeah.
And we're still going to work together, and it's going to be fruitful.
That's also like the cornerstone of all the female friendship in these books, where
For
it's
sure.
like, I'm going to hate you sometimes, but I'm going to tell you the truth.
Yeah, which is all you can ask for.
Yeah. Well, I loved your essay collection so much.
Thank
in your
you.
book. So it's available on Amazon, right?
It is. It's available on Amazon, Audible.
I really recommend listening to it. That it's so funny when in the first chapter where I think you talk about who's the guy that you're working on the first version of the TV project with.
Oh, Larry Wilmore?
Larry.
Yeah.
Then you were like, what the fuck do they need Larry for?
I was so upset.
Because I'd read part and I just fast forwarded to that part and I just pressed play and I was like, whoa, she's like in my head. It was so good.
Thank you. I love Larry and I missed him.
Yeah, it's very good. Well, thank you so much for doing this.
Thank you so much
this
for
was
having
so fun.
me. Like, I had a great time. So what I got is that you hated the courage to be this.
I genuinely, I hated the first chapter about the trauma stuff because I was just like,